Thanks for joining. Like Casey said, it's more about just a little info piece about Ramadan. Quite a high level, quite a high level overview. So not going too much in the nitty gritty because it can get complicated. So I thought I'll keep it nice and easy for everyone to follow and hopefully at the end, you should know, or hopefully you will know a little bit more about what Ramadan is. So the first question is really over to you guys. I was quite keen to know, or quite keen to understand what you guys know about Ramadan. So um, I'll open to you.
I've got a feeling it's a festival. I don't know if it is though, but I think it might be.
hmm I'm not going to say yes or no, so I'm just keen to hear. Thank you, Carly.
It involves fasting. I know that much.
Yeah.
Is it like a religious time where it's used to help like cleanse the body and kind of get you closer to your religious beliefs?
I would guess as well.
And then it's the lead up to Eid, isn't it? So then when you break fast at the end of it, and it's based on the moon, isn't it? The length of which Ramadan is. Like when it's a new moon, then you stop. Is that correct?
Yeah, pretty much along the right line. So you got definitely some good answers there. So let me give you a little bit more info about that. So I've put a few images there. So Ramadan is actually the 9th month in the Islamic calendar, and it's the most holiest month for Muslims across the globe, and it is the month where the holy book of the religion was released or revealed, which is the Quran, which I'm hope you guys have heard about. So that's when the revelation of the Quran happened within that month. And it is just really an extra time, or an extra month, a month where extra worship happens and fasting happens, like Rachel said. So and it's quite a communal time. So families get together, people within the community get together and really celebrate and fast, together as much as they can, and depending on obviously where you live. So I've put those 4 images there, and people celebrate it by saying Ramadan Mubarak, which basically means have a blessed Ramadan, or happy Ramadan, basically. So it's quite simple, quite straightforward. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, cool, awesome.
Yeah.
Going on to the next one. Fasting is quite a big pillar of Islam, and it's one of the 5 pillars of Islam. So I wanted to ask you guys, what do you think are the goals? If you want to guess, I think I've put about 4 or 5 bullet points there. What are the goals of fasting? Quite keen to know what you guys think.
Is one of it around appreciation?
Good guess, definitely. Yes, good one.
Commitment?
Sacrifice. Sacrifice. A bit like Lent.
Yeah, interesting. Anyone else?
Is it to sort of is it to understand that there are some people that are going hungry at every single moment of time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good guess as well. Cool. So let me show you guys. So the first one is quite obvious. So draw closer to God. So have a closer connection to God, because obviously it's quite it's a month where you pray quite a lot. Second one is feel compassion for others. So like Paul, Carly, and Ryan said as well. So people who are less fortunate than us, how do they feel? And feel that compassion for them. Reflect on your shortcomings. So things that you might have done in the past where you were not so proud of, or things that you wanted to change in the future. It's quite a good month to reflect on that. So if you've not been a good boy or a good girl, then that's a good time to reflect. Next one is, like I mentioned, strengthen community relations. So your neighbors, people in the community, you get together, you celebrate it together, you help each other. and that's really quite good. Quite a good month to I guess, if you haven't done that so much over the past few months, then to do it, and then obviously moving forward, keep doing that. Then the next one I've got is, how long does the Ramadan fast actually last? So I'm trying to get my breath because I'm really thirsty at the moment, but it usually lasts a whole month, so between 29 to 30 days. So like I think it was DB said, so usually at dawn. So for example, I wake up at the moment, it's between 3 a.m. in the morning, and you're supposed to have a small meal, then after you pray, and then you go back to sleep, and then it can last between 12 to 16 hours depending on where you are in the world. So for example, when I was in Australia last year, I used to start around about 3 as well, and then I used to actually open my fast, or I was able to eat again at 5 p.m. So obviously over here, because of the time zone differences, it lasts roughly around 3 to 3.5 hours extra, which can make a difference definitely. And what during the day, you're supposed to refrain from, of course, from eating, from drinking anything, using foul languages, which is quite hard sometimes depending on who you talk to, and just being really, having quite a clean mind and being quite spiritual, which is probably the right word for it. So it's a test. It's a test for you of how much can you refrain, or how much self-discipline have you got, to be able to stay away from all the things that can possibly, in one way or the other, be bad for us, or be quite, the lust of trying to have what you want. You can't have it at that time, so it's quite can be quite challenging at times. And the next one, who fasts during Ramadan? So all Muslims are expected to fast during Ramadan, but there are exceptions. So again, I would like to ask you guys what you think the exceptions, or who do you think the exceptions are, who do not have to fast during the month of Ramadan?
Isn't it?
Pregnant ladies, babies.
If you're younger than a certain age, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's like
Children, yeah.
Or if you have like a medical issue like diabetes, maybe.
Definitely, yeah. Good answer. That definitely good guess. It's pretty much right what you guys said. So one other thing is adults traveling long distances. So for example, if you are traveling on a plane, 8, 9, 10 hours, then you're not expected to fast. You can do if you want. Some people still do, but then obviously depending on where you fly to, the timings might be a bit difficult to keep track of timings. So you're not expected to fast when you're traveling long distances. Like Carlin said, so for example, unhealthy adults, so mentally or physically, if you've got an illness that affects your day to day and you need to take, medication and things like that, you're not expected to fast. But some people still do. Women who are pregnant, like Carlin said, on a or in a post childbirth care or doing breastfeeding, that's also you're also exempt from fasting. And then the last one, children. So some kids, it's up to them really. I mean, I started when I was probably, I don't know, about 11, 12 years old, but nowadays even kids do it, kids do it younger than that. So it's all depending on them, on what they do. They're not, they're not expected to do it, but it's down to them whether they do it or not. So that's that one. And then the next one, I think this is probably quite a common question that I get, or that you might have heard what the benefits of fasting are, and I think Sean mentioned one of them. So and a couple of others said other things. So the main thing is really, I think for me, when you fast and you're not able to eat or drink or have everything that we have, because we are so fortunate, how does one feel, or what does it actually experience to hunger, to really hunger? So if you think about people, in third world countries, for example, or people who are homeless, or etc., and haven't got access to food, clean water and food and stuff like that during the day, and they they go through it most of their lives on a daily basis. What does it really feel like to hunger? And I think that for me, every time Ramadan comes around, is really, it really brings you back down a little bit, and humbles me a little bit, because yeah, it is quite tough. I mean, I definitely, when it's opening time, or when I'm allowed to eat again, and you haven't eaten or drank all day, it's definitely, you think, God, how do other people do it? How do the people who are less fortunate are able to do it on a daily basis? So it's really an eye opener. And as I mentioned before, it because you're not able to do the things that you want to maybe do during the day. It strengthens really your, thickens your skin. For me, it's like really self-discipline. It really improves your strength and endurance, and is really tests you. Are you able to do it? Can you last that long without the things that you normally do? And I think one of the other things, I think you might have heard, and other people, for example, do it, called intermittent fasting, I think is called, which I think is very similar. I think a lot of athletes and sports people do it, and it has quite good benefits when it comes to health reasons. So like I said, that it lowers your blood sugar, your cholesterol, and really cleanses your immune system, because if you imagine your immune system is working every single day because you're eating, you're drinking, it really gives your immune system a break from absorbing all the food and drink and everything that you put into your body. And during those 30 days, it really gives it a break and starts to regenerate itself. So I definitely would encourage for people to look up, maybe not, if you don't want to look about Ramadan, but intermittent fasting as well is something that a lot of people do. And it helps a lot with health, people who suffer maybe from health issues. And then the after Ramadan, so after the 29 or 30 days, the celebration of Ramadan is called Eid, or Eid al-Fitr, which basically means happy Ramadan, basically, or have blessed Eid, or happy holiday, basically. And it comes after the last day of fasting, usually, depending on, again, where you are in the world. We decide by, if you see the full moon out, it basically means that we can, it's time to celebrate, and it's it's over. And usually what families do is, so in the morning, we go pray, and then after you come back from the prayer, you celebrate with your family and friends. Really, you give gifts, you visit each other, families visit each other. It's quite a big gathering, and the kids and stuff. I remember as a kid, not so much more now, but as a kid I used to get like money and stuff like that, but not anymore. Yeah, as I mentioned, the greeting Eid Mubarak means blessed holiday. So I thought I'd keep it quite nice and simple, so just quite a high overview. But do people have any questions?
Yeah, I've got one, Fahed.
Yeah.
What's it? I'm really interested. What's it like? I mean, I guess it's a leading question, but how good is it when you can finally eat after a month? Like, and how is it worse towards the end? Like, is it because you're so close?
Yeah, mentally, I think, yeah, because for example, if you're halfway through, because at the moment we're like on the 10th or 11th day. If you're halfway through, you think, oh, 2 weeks left. So
Yeah.
it does in that sense, it does get a little bit quicker. But then I think it leads back to being able to self-discipline yourself, and actually take in the time that in the month that you are, and that's quite difficult at times. And with the food, yeah, definitely. I think I have it on a daily basis, never mind after Ramadan, where, when it's like, say, half an hour left on the clock or 10 minutes left on the clock, and you sat there at the dinner table, if the fasting open. So, yeah, it can be challenging. But it's something that, it just reminds you. It's just a daily reminder, really. So yeah, it's tough.
Inspiring, mate. Amazing.
Do you know during the day, like in general, do you notice that you have more sort of like wilder emotional reactions to stuff, or does it sort of affect you? Do you have like spikes?
Good question.
Do you know what I'm getting at? Is it?
Yeah, good question.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, good question, Kawi. It does. It does. I mean, people who know me, they know I like food, and I mean, like anyone really, if you haven't eaten for a few hours, or you're really hungry, you might get hungry. And I have definitely experienced it, like when I'm working and stuff, when I'm dealing maybe with a candidate that my temper is maybe not as calm as it normally is, but you just have to control yourself, and even when you're speaking with other people, and having debates and stuff, yeah, it can get a little bit, your emotions can drive you a little bit higher, but I think that's just normal. But yeah, definitely does.
Have you found that you get better support from different, like the different companies that you've worked in? Do you find that you get better support in some than others? Because obviously, like when you're fasting, like you say, your emotions are a little bit more than others. Like as you said, like you got to dedicate more time to praying and things. Have you found that you've got better support in certain companies than others?
Yeah, I mean, I can only compare it to the last company I worked for. So SThree has been really good, where they have publicly given their support, obviously over email, and obviously Tom Way doing the video and stuff like that, and obviously Paul and DJ giving me the flexibility to sort of manage my hours, especially a bit more when during Ramadan. So that's been really good, and really, any company who really acknowledges it and wants to know more about it is obviously appreciated, right? In my last role, that wasn't the case at all. People just knew that I was fasting, and that was it. So that was a bit disappointing. But I guess credit to the program and to the diversity program that we have at SThree. That acknowledges the different cultures and religions and stuff that people follow. So yeah, that's been good.
Just question on so just on the it wasn't quite clear. So you can eat. So you have to fast between 12 and 16 hours, but you can eat before a certain time, and then what time sort of on an evening is it that, and how does it work? Is it
so what I meant by a fasting during the day can last between 12 to 16 hours depending where you are in the world. So for example, I was in Australia last year. It was a lot less than 16 hours, obviously, because of, back in the UK, the different time zones, the fast during the day lasts longer. And the way it works is that there is a calendar that gets released every year for Ramadan that gives you the timings of when you can start to eat, when you can stop eat, and then when you can open your fast again. So it gives you specific timings. So for example, today, 3:30 a.m. till I think it was 4:13 or 4:15 a.m. So you can eat between those timings, and then you have to stop at that point. Then obviously you go pray, and then until usually at the moment it's roughly around 8:30 p.m. where you can open your fast. So there's set timings that are given for the whole month that you adhere to. And what people usually say is, you eat at dawn, and then you can eat at dawn in the mornings, which are like obviously the early hours, and then at sunset, which are around those timings, you can start to break your fast again. So again, you can eat again in the evenings. So there are set timings that are given. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I think just, it's not a question, but I think just from myself listening to that, just the sort of that not a penny drop moment, but just thinking about it, which maybe I've not considered before, about how we take things for granted, you know, and food is just something that we just take as a given right. But you're right, how many people even in this country, a developed country, that go hungry. So yeah, that really resonated with me, and thanks for sharing that.
No problem. Does anyone have any other questions?
Yeah, just is it certain foods that you have to eat during the time that you're able to eat? Because obviously, with it being quite a spiritual time, I'm guessing you can't just sit there and demolish a load of pizzas on an evening.
Well, you can't, to be honest, because your stomach shrinks right after the couple of 2 or 3 days, because your system gets adjusted to not having food and drink. You can eat whatever you want, but it is recommended to eat healthy foods, because when to help you during the day, or to help you for the next day during fasting. So for example, I eat a lot of watermelons, because it's got a lot of fluid, a lot of liquid, a lot of water. It contains a lot of water in there, which helps you to keep hydrated. I try to avoid like the usual stuff that I eat, the pizzas, the burgers, and things like that. So the oily stuff can help, does not necessarily help you, because it makes you thirsty. So to help you during for the day when you wake up, it's recommended to have something light, something healthy. A lot of people eat fruits. A lot of people eat dates. Dates are quite nutritious. It helps you during the day, gives you energy, and things like that. So yeah, there's certain things that can help you. All right. Thank you, guys. Just before we move off, I thought I'm going to catch up with Casey after this, and with David, I guess, after this, because I wanted to see what he thinks and see who wanted to give it a go. I thought it was what I wanted to maybe do, or perhaps just suggest is we'll pick a day in the month of Ramadan where it's open to people to have a try and see for themselves what they think and what their thoughts and feelings are about this. And it's not like you have to do the whole day, you have to do the full hours, and you have to wake. I don't expect you to wake up at 3:30 and then eat at 8:30, because I don't want to be responsible for some of you to fall off your chairs or anything like that. And where you can, for example, let's say you just don't eat for a few hours and you only drink water, or you just don't eat or drink for a few hours, or maybe even if that's a couple of hours or 6 hours or 7 hours, it's entirely up to you guys. And it's not something that you have to do, but it'd be interesting to see what you guys think, and for the people who want to participate, I thought it'd be, because Ramadan is also about giving charity and thinking of others, to we'll probably set up a donation link where we can donate for the people who want to be involved and want to get involved, and then give those contributions to a charity. That's something I'm going to discuss and probably roll out at some point during this month, or going through the next month, and see what you guys think. Special shout out to Miles. He's been doing it for a few days now with me, so he's been doing, I think, good 6, 7, 8, 9 hours. So I think it might be good idea for you to share, Miles, but your thoughts or how you've been finding it so far.
Really hard. To be fair, right, if anyone knows me, I eat for Britain, right? But it has me. I'll tell you what, 2 things for me. So I'll just give you like the 2 things that I really think about. So number 1 is exactly what David and Fahed said. It makes you think a lot about people who aren't able to get as easy access to food as we do. So you definitely appreciate that more. And number 2, you definitely think a lot more about what you eat. Because I can remember the first day I did it, I got myself a Domino's in the evening, and I woke up the next day and it was awful. I just knew that I just made such a mistake. So now I'm trying to eat loads more vegetables. I think I'm drinking like 1 litre of water, 1.5 litres of water before I go to bed on a night, just to try and make sure that I can stay composed over the next day. But yeah, it's good. It's really good, and I've lost 1/2 stone, so I.
Yeah, definitely a good idea if people want to reduce some kilos. But I'll leave it open to you guys. I guess we'll roll it out, and I appreciate you guys.
Fahed?
Yes.
Sorry, mate. Sorry to cut you off. I think Joe's got his hand up.
Yes. I can't.
I just had a quick question. I was just thinking, what do you do for exercise and stuff? 'Cause does that not make you get really hungry? Do you just not exercise during the day?
Well, if you know me, I'm not really a big fan of exercising. But yeah, people. I know my mates who, like, they go to gyms and stuff, every day, and they go do power sessions, and they, before the fast, and I always think, like, God, how can you survive without water? When you're going, I don't know, running, or when you're going for a run, or you're doing powerlifting, or whatever you do. Some people even play footy as well. It's mad. Five-a-side, and everyone who knows who play five-a-side, how tough that can be. So yeah, some people do it, some people don't. I refrain from it for the time being, and then if I feel like it afterwards, I go. But yeah, some people do, some people don't, and some people say it actually helps. So whatever works for everyone, right? So it's all on individual basis.
Fair enough.
Thank
Anything
you.
else? Or? No? Okay, brilliant. Well, thank you guys. Thanks for joining. I really appreciate it. And like I said, yeah, just keep an eye out for the email and stuff, and for the communication. And we'll hope to see a few people fasting.
Look forward to it.
Yeah, so
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.